Từ ba này.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Martin. Today, I want to talk about something that is invisible, yet it is the single most essential ingredient for a functioning society. I want to talk about trust. Well, economists often say that trust is the currency of a country, and without trust, the economy stops, safety disappears, and you certainly can't run a democracy. But here's the critical question my research seeks to answer. Is trust a single, ununified thing? Does a high score on one variable mean a high score on all variables? And today my research answered this question using empirical data from Taiwan that I've used the analysis of WVS Wave 7. Specifically, I looked at the World Value Survey Wave 7 to map out what I call the structure of trust. So, before we get into the heavy numbers, we need to define our scopes. We are looking at two different worlds defined by specific variable ranges. First, there's social capital. This covers the variables regarding private life. It is the trust between people, lending money to a friend or trusting a neighbor. And second is there's institutional confidence. This covers the public variables. This is the trust between a citizen and the state. In many classical Western theories, scholars argue that these two go together. But my research tests if this is actually true in Taiwan. I analyzed the dataset from Q58 through Q89 to see if these two worlds are connected, or if they are separate universes. Okay, so let's move to the methodology and data treatment. So through this research, I used the survey from the data WVS 7. It is the gold standard of social science research. And for this specific study, I analyzed a valid sample of 1, 2, 2, 3 respondents. So now I need you to listen very carefully to this next point. I made a strategic decision to use the raw dataset numbers in the survey variables Q58 through Q89 use a scale of 1 to 4, which means number 1 is high trust or confidence, or you can say trust completely or a great deal, and the number 4 is no trust, confidence, or do not trust at all, or none. And that means lower mean scores indicate positive outcomes. So, and I've separated the social trust, which is the variables Q58 to Q63, and the institutional confidence is the variables Q64 to Q89. So, think of it like a ranking. If you want to be number 1. So for the next 10 minutes, whenever you see a low number, that is a good result. Whenever you see a high number, that is a bad result. And through this methodology, I've been using two tools. The first one is PASW statistics for descriptives and frequency. And the second one is Smart PLS and LISRO for structural correlation analysis. So let's move on to the descriptive of the social trust. Descriptive statistics of social trust. So let's look at the table. In here we have Q58 to Q63, which is mean for the social trust. And the mean in Q58 is 1.21. Q58 measures the trust in the family. And so remember, 1.0 is a perfect score, so Q58 is incredible. it is near unanimous. It tells us that for Taiwanese people, the private sphere is a fortress of safety. But let's look at the Q61, which is the strangers. The score dropped drastically to the 2.79. That means there is a massive statistical gap between Q58 and Q61. So you just go from the complete trust to skepticism just by stepping out the front door. And also I've provided a statistical number for the Q63, which is 2.62, which is actually very kind of close to the Q61. So what does this mean? It means Taiwan has a strong bonding capital represented by Q68 for the SD equal to 0.45, and it sticks together in tight groups. However, we are significantly weaker in breaching capital, which is the Q61. That means that have a mean with 2.79 with SD equal to 0.61. And what is the observation in here is the trust is highly localized, extremely strong in bonding social capital, and weak in breaching social capital.
Now we move to the public sector variables. Here the data tells a fascinating story about the hierarchy of the state. Let's start with the functional state. Look at Q64 to Q89, and this is virtually the same score people give to their neighbors. This is a tremendous positive indicator. It means the public believes the machinery of Q69 works. But now let's walk down the stairs of the political variables. Watch how the trust decays. First, look at Q71. This presents the government. The score falls to 2.55. Next, look at Q73. This presents parliament. The score drops further to 2.91. Finally, at the bottom, look at Q72. Q72 represents political parties. The score for Q72 is 3.01. This is the worst score in my entire study. So here is the paradox. Citizens respect Q69, the police, but they gave almost zero faith in Q72, the parties. They trust the enforcement of the law, but they do not trust the authors of the law. We didn't just want to the functional the descriptive statistic, institutional confidence, the functional political split, high confidence enforcement, the police Q69 mean 2.01, and the low confidence, the representation. The first one is the government Q71. It means 2.55. Number 2, parliament Q73. It means 2.91. Number 3, the political parties Q72. It means 3.01. It is the lowest in my study. And the key finding, the public trust the enforcers of the law more than the markers of the law. Next, the structure of trust. We didn't just want to look at averages. We want to see the structure, how these key variables connect to a human mind. So we ran a correlation analysis looking for links stronger than 0.4. And the key finding, citizens views institutions as blocks, not individuals. And cluster A, the political machine, we found a massive correlation of 0.72 between Q71 government, Q73 parliament, and Q72 parties. To a data scientist, 0.72 is extremely high. What does it mean? Parliament Q73 are equal 0.72. Citizens see no difference between the executive and legislative branches. And Parliament Q73, the parties Q72 are equal 0.68. A failure in one party collapses trust in the whole system. And the last is implication. Political cynicism is systemic. And a cluster B, the rule of law. But here's the good news. We found a strong link between Q69 police and Q70 the courts. Crucially, this group is not linked to Q72. This proves that the public separates the justice systems from the political system. They do not blame Q69 for the mistake of Q72. As we can see, police, its courts are equal 0.51. The justice system is viewed as a cohesive unit. Politics are smaller than 0.3. Crucial finding. The public correctly separates law enforcement from political leaderships. And cluster C, cosmopolitan trust, is a strangers to foreigners are equal 0.48. Trusting outsiders is a unified personality trait. Brighton capital. And contrast, trusting family are equal 0.12 does not predict trusting strangers. And the synthesis of findings, social stability maintained by private networks, family and administrative competence, police, political fragility, democratic institution, parties or parliament are viewed with skepticism, correlation analysis, personal correlation between trust in family and confidence in parties is negligible. Conclusion: these are independent constructs. Improving family life does not improve political fields. And to the conclusion, we wrap up. How do we describe the state of trust in Taiwan? My research shows that Taiwan is a society with a strong heart. Qui 58 prove our family are secure. It has a strong shield. Qui 69 prove our police are respected. But it has a weak head. Qui 72 prove our political leaderships face a crisis. The data confirm that the distrust in Qui 72 is structural, R equal 0.72. If we want to build a truly high trust society, we don't need to fix Qui 58 and we don't need to fix Qui 69. We need to focus our efforts entirely on the transparency and accountability of Qui 72, the political parties.
So here's the appendix A, which is my data specification that were taken from the data, the file data on the Moodle, as you can see. And here's the appendix B, the descriptive output, which I've mentioned above, related to the Q58 from Q58 to Q89. And here's the contribution. So Martin is the leader, which contributed 50% to this presentation, and CD is my groupmate, which also contributed 50% to this presentation. So thanks for listening.